Joining me now, Democratic Congresswoman from California, Nanette Barragán. She is a member of the House Homeland Security Committee, also the second vice chair of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Welcome back to the broadcast. It's very nice to see you, Congresswoman. I'm curious how you interpret the president's claim that he has an absolute legal right. Do you agree?
I don't agree. I think what is happening here is that this president does not like sanctuary cities. He does not like migrants, and he's trying to use the federal government to get political revenge, and we have to make sure that we don't allow him to do that.
You know, officials are telling NBC News that the president's advisors have discussed whether the military could legally increase its involvement along the border, going about building and running the migrant detention camps. You've been to the border. You have seen the conditions of the migrants there. What are your concerns around this idea?
Well, I'm concerned that the president is using the military in an improper way. One of the things that ICE has been doing is they've been working with the local shelters. Down in El Paso, we spoke to some of them where ICE was helping coordinate to where to release some of these migrants. The shelters would tell them what churches they could be dropped off, which shelters they could be dropped off. They have offered to send people to shelters and places in Dallas, and ICE has said they couldn't do it. It was too far away. There are other ways to do this. If the president is serious about coming up with a solution, it's not going to be about saying, where can I send migrants so I can get political retribution? Using the military is not also the way to go here, and I just think it would be a misuse of the military.
So when you look at what the president threatens to do, again, for political gain or retribution, if you want to look at it that way, against Democrats, you've seen how migrants have been kept in, literally, you can call them cages, holding pens, however you want to describe them. And how would that even logistically happen, busing them? Where would the money come from? I mean, is all of this just bluster from the White House that is not going to be followed through upon?
I believe that it is, and I think this is just more of the fear-mongering, more of the president trying to figure out what he can say to try to get his way. But look, what is happening at the border is this president is creating chaos. They're slowing down the process on the immigration front. They're turning people away at the ports of entry. And when you see how people are being treated, these are human beings escaping violence. It's totally unconscionable. So we have to make sure, number one, to ask, where is the $415 million that Congress just allocated for humanitarian aid? And two, working with these shelters to make sure that we send migrants to where they're being welcomed, where they're being taken, churches. And by the way, Alex, I just want to say, most of these migrants go here for a day or two, and then their family members send them tickets to get to where their family members are. Sometimes it's in New York. We talked to a woman going to New York. Sometimes it's in the LA area. Sometimes it's in the Dallas area. So these are the starting points, is A, making sure we're working with the shelters to try to get migrants to be released in places where it's going to be humane and them for being able to reach out to families.
You know, here's another question. Who's running the show? Because there have been numerous personnel departures this week at Homeland Security. That includes, of course, Homeland Security Secretary Nielsen. I know you questioned Nielsen on the Hill last month in a Homeland Security Committee hearing. How big of an impact are these departures having? Do you think that she should have resigned?
I was calling for her resignation since June of last year, when she first started separating women and families and children. But look, if there is chaos in the Department of Homeland Security, make no mistake, there's nobody really in charge there. Her departure certainly makes it worse for the unsteadiness that's happening there. That is of a great concern to me. We were supposed to have her come and testify on May 1st before Homeland Security Committee again. Now it's in a state of flux. We don't know if anybody's coming, but we need to get answers, and we have to continue the oversight. I mean, what you hear, the reports of the president being lawless and basically saying, do whatever you need to do, even if you need to break the law, totally outrageous, unacceptable, and why Congress needs to continue this oversight.
I'm curious, do you think the president is aware, and do you think there is a good side to sending immigrants to sanctuary cities. I mean, these are cities that have proven to say to the federal government, with some of the somewhat draconian laws they will put down, we're not going to abide by those. You know, we're going to abide by the law, but not necessarily to the extreme that you would like us to. So there is a silver lining, right? That they would help people in these sanctuary cities.
Let's make no mistake about what this is. The president has previously moved to defund sanctuary cities. The president goes on his rampage against sanctuary cities. This is political retribution. This wasn't a situation where the president or his advisors said, how can we help at the border? How can we help in El Paso with more people coming in? They didn't say, let's look and talk to shelters on what cities they can accommodate and take more migrants, which is what they had been doing locally in El Paso. They didn't do that. And that is what is important to note here. That was not the approach being taken. The approach being taken is, let's send these migrants, these human beings, let's send them someplace for political retribution. And that is what is wrong. And we cannot allow the federal government to be used for political retribution.
Congressman from California, Barragán, it's very good to see you again. Thank you so much. I'm sure we'll have you back soon. Appreciate it.
Thank you.